So if some people say, once a cheater, always a cheater. Do you believe in that concept or?
I don't.
Okay. I don't believe in it either.
I believe, honestly, there are people who have never cheated and then they find the person they cheat on. Just because you've never cheated doesn't mean that you're not capable of cheating. Everyone's capable of cheating.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Coffee Breakup.
Starring
Marvin Schultz.
and Christian Beer.
The best ever. So with that being said, if you're watching this on YouTube, like this video down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the notification bell, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok.
And the website, thecoffeebreakup.com.
Oh yeah, and if you're on the go, Spotify and iTunes.
Of course, can't forget that.
Exactly. So running right through that, let's get the episode started.
And we got a nice little guest today.
We got a nice little guest today.
What's up?
What's going on, Sam?
Hi, how are you guys?
Everything good? So we wanted to bring you on. So we had a conversation. Was it last week? Oh, my memory's horrible.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. It's been 2 weeks already?
Yes, sir.
Time flies.
Jesus Christ, when you hate your life. So 2 weeks ago, and it was for me, like, I feel like I learned so much of how secure you were, with, you had said that, you do go to therapy. Marvin's super big on therapy, and us being, relationship podcast, more niche specific. At the end of the day, it's very important that people understand how it is for themselves to feel secure with, with themselves, their thought process, and finding help if you need to. And at the end of the day, whether it's good or bad, you've said it yourself, there's never a wrong time to speak to a professional. Exactly. So that for me was important. I'm like, man, I want to bring you on, plus to get your whole background and stuff like that. So we always start the episode getting to know a little bit about our guest, a little bit of a background. So we can start with you. The floor will be yours, where you were born, upbringing, whatever, all that good stuff. Start with you.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Sam. I'm 24 years old. I was born and raised here in Miami, but my background, so it's weird. So my mom's side is Cuban, but my dad's side is Italian. So I'm Cuban Italian. Yeah, so my last name is Dellamico. No one ever says it right. Yeah. You never hear that in.
So Dellamico. So the emphasis is on the I.
Dellamico. It's actually spelled hyphenated. Yeah, so it's DELL-AMICO.
Really?
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Oh, this makes so much sense.
It's cool until you're trying to graduate and they say your name at graduation and they butcher it.
Like what? Sure, Dellamico.
Dellamico, Dellamico. You got everything.
Sure, Dellamico.
Yeah.
So, but is it hyphenated?
It is. Technically, it is. I don't do it because it makes my life so complicated.
Really?
Yeah.
Dellamico.
Transcripts, driver's license, social security makes my life horrible. Yeah.
That's true. All right, moving on.
So I'm currently in the final stretch of nursing school.
Nice.
Thank the Lord. But I do currently work night shifts at the hospital while in school, so it definitely is hectic. That's definitely interesting to say the least. I could definitely have stories for days for that. I was definitely raised in an interesting household considering the two different ethnicities. I was raised with my parents being divorced. My parents got divorced when I was a year old. So I never had that like family dynamic. So I was raised primarily by my mom, which my mom was that nurturing, loving mom.
She was the Cuban side, right?
Yeah.
Your mom's
and
Cuban?
then my dad's side. So my dad was, even though he was Italian, they kind of adopted that like very American lifestyle that like at 18 you're out. Everything is on you.
Okay, so your mom Cuban, your father Italian. How old were they when they were here? Were they here for a long, like very young or a little bit older?
No, they were young. So weird enough, my dad's side, my dad was raised in North Carolina. And then my mom was raised in New York.
Okay.
And somehow they both made it to Miami, met here, and here I am.
Miami's such a melting pot think about this. And this was a long time ago because we have people always coming here like now.
Yeah.
But think of like one from, what is it, Jersey? The other one from
New
York. The other one from Carolina. Italian, Cuban.
The odds of ending up then here. Like,
what the hell?
Yep.
That's incredible. And so,
especially you being in hospitality where you meet like so many different ethnicities.
From all over. Yeah. From
and
all over the
even
place.
from there. How crazy is that?
Man, so you were born, but you were born here.
I was born here. Born and raised in the toxic Miami.
Have you lived anywhere else? Or
I have not, but that's actually my goal for next year. I want to leave Miami.
Where do you want to go?
Nashville,
Tennessee.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
It's a growing city. It's definitely turning into a melting pot.
It is, yeah.
In a way. There's definitely the American lifestyle. You definitely do see a lot of racism there. I'm technically American and I went to Nashville and I experienced racism.
Really?
Yeah.
I went to Nashville. I wasn't really.
Yeah, but you look more American than probably she
Do
does.
I?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I talk, I'm not. And you know me, I talk a lot.
True,
But Nashville was still amazing. And I think it's the perfect combination of like, you get the city lifestyle, but you drive 20 minutes out and you get that completely different country, corn-fed.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure,
So
for
it's a
sure.
whole different world.
You like that?
I love it.
Why? Just it being alone, like away from.
So funny enough, growing up, I used to always say that I was going to marry a gringo.
Really?
I want a white guy who thinks that I'm the most Hispanic thing in the world.
Okay.
And there's definitely not that in Miami.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you'll find that in Nashville.
You find that in Nashville for sure. So you know, Chris was saying that you go to therapy. How did you end up? Like, what made you say, "Hey, listen, like, I want to take care of my mental health"?
So obviously growing up in Miami, like I said, toxic Miami comes toxic people.
Sure.
And people don't realize that when you say the word relationship doesn't just mean boyfriend, girlfriend. Relationship means mom, dad. Relationship means your friends. Relationship means anyone
Yourself.
that you have a relationship with.
Even with yourself, no?
Yeah,
Mhm,
of course.
100%.
So there were a time in my life where I had a very bad relationship with my father specifically. I never had a strong relationship with him, but it definitely got worse at a certain point in my life. And I think it affected the way that I was in a romantic relationship. So when I was 16, I got into a relationship with this boy, because I'm going to call him a boy, not a man.
Ouch.
And it became very toxic very fast. And I lived with that relationship for 3 years. And when I tell you toxic, I mean, I can't even count on both hands and toes and anything how many times he cheated on me.
Oh, wait, how old are you?
I was 16.
Yeah.
He was
How old
16.
was he?
Was
Also
16 too,
16?
No, like, I think he was 17, 18.
Okay, so
Okay.
so-
Right there.
Right.
And because of the previous, like, what I had known around me, because of the toxicity around me, I thought that was normal. I thought that was just, oh, well, that's what relationships are. Just something that you handle, that you deal with. I'm a girl. I just come to sit back and deal with it. And, you know, it's just a part of life. So for 3 years, I sat there and I dealt with a lot of stuff. And every time he cheated on me, he used to blame me for it.
No, narcissism at its finest,
Yeah,
dude.
dude. Like, I did this because you didn't pay attention, or because you didn't.
No,
do
I
this.
feel like it's probably stupider than that.
No, so funny enough, he would compare me to them.
Jesus.
So it was more like, well, maybe if you dressed like them, then I wouldn't have cheated on you. Well, maybe if you would have spoken to me like them, then I wouldn't have cheated on you. Well, maybe if you did your makeup a little different, then I wouldn't have cheated on you.
Piece of shit, dude.
What a scumbag.
It was so bad that there was even one night that we went out. And mind you, we were going to Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's and Dolphin Mall.
Yeah.
What do
yeah.
you wear to that? Nothing. It's casual.
Yeah.
Right.
When I tell you that he picked out my outfit from head to toe, he had me in like 6-inch stilettos with like this leather jacket, the whole nine. And he even did my makeup for me. Like,
What the heck?
in
I
the
don't even know how
bathroom.
You
to
sure
do
he's
that.
just not into, like, he's probably gay.
I don't know.
He wants to do your makeup, wanted to dress you,
Yeah,
like,
do everything. Might as
yeah.
well.
Like everything, because he wanted to control how I looked, how I was, how I presented myself, my hair always had to be a specific way. But even when I would do those things, I was still never good enough, and he was still cheating with the next one.
And this is, but this was at 16.
That was
so
super.
do you still, did you ever talk to this person after when you were a little bit older? Did you ever have a conversation and kind of?
Yeah. So after we broke up 3 years later, and it got to a point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was just so over it. You know, you can only cry so many times. You know, you're going to cry over this person how many times?
Yeah.
When I tell you, like, we had Disney annual passes, and he took her on my annual pass. And obviously, when you have the annual pass, you can go into the Disney app, and every time you clock in, like, to take pictures or whatever, it comes on your app. So there's pictures of them on the rides together, together on the rides, kissing in front of the castle, the whole 9 yards on my phone. Like that.
No way.
It's like
Yeah.
what an idiot.
So imagine all of that at 16, 17, 18 years old.
It's hard because, bro, that relationship kind of sets the tone for all the following relationships, right? Because you're so
Yeah.
young and you
Of
think,
course.
you know,
Like that's your first impression of
Yeah,
like a
love,
real relationship,
quote,
and then now it's like every relationship, if like that means love to you,
Of
unless
course.
you learn that that's really not love.
Which you don't realize that until after the fact.
Exactly.
Because you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I'm so in love with him. I want to be with him. This is the love of my life. I can't leave him. Yada, yada, yada. But then after the fact, you look back and you're like, oh, that wasn't love.
Yeah, the hell was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
when you're that young, but you don't even, there's nothing to compare it to. So you're like,
Right.
oh shit, this has to be normal, right? So what made you say, hey, listen, this is not it for me. Like I want to
Yeah,
remove
when did
myself
it,
from the
like,
situation.
click.
So again, 3 years down the line, I got just so tired of it. And again, you can only cry so much after a person. And I guess I just got up one day and I would look to him and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm just so over it and I don't care. And he looked at me and he threatened me and he was like, oh, I'm going to break up with you. And I was like, do it.
We're already broken
we're
up.
there.
Like, this is what I'm
But
doing.
it was like one of those relationships that we would break up like every other day and be like, okay, 3 days later, we're going to get back together.
Yeah.
So it was like empty threats.
Yeah.
It's one of those, once you draw that line, that's it. Like, there's no more. So when he was like, oh, I'm going to break up with you, I was like, do it. And he was like, walk out and we're done. I was like, peace. And I walked out and I never looked back. And he texted me and he was like, are you serious? And I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then like 2 weeks later, he called me and he was like, hey, I just wanted you to know that I cheated on you with X, Y, Z, B, every letter in the alphabet. And I'm just letting you know because I need to let it out so I can move on with myself with a clear
Narcissism.
head.
Get the fuck out
Finest,
of here, dude.
dude.
He just wants to rub it in. Like, it's not about moving on. He doesn't get. He
No,
doesn't
he
care.
wants you to. He wants to further belittle you even more.
Yeah.
For you to be like, wow, like he can do all this. Maybe I'm a piece of garbage.
He wants
Run
to.
back to
Yeah.
him.
He wants to hurt you. Like, because you broke. You know, you get into things. He's like, man, I can't believe she actually did this. So let me.
I want
hurt
her to
even
feel
more.
as bad as I
Exactly.
feel right now.
Yeah. Let me hurt her even more by telling her this, which is completely unnecessary. Okay. What is that going to change now? What a jackass.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How annoying. Okay, and then what?
So 19 years old, so I walk away finally. So you do what every other girl at 19 does. You don't handle your emotions. You don't look back and reflect on what just happened the last 3 years of your life. What do you do in Miami? You party. That's how you get over a relationship.
Yeah.
That's how you get over a man. And at 19 years old in Miami, it doesn't matter that you're 19. You're going to get into Live. You're going to get into Story. You're going to get into wherever.
Whoa. Women at 19, because there ain't no way in hell they're gonna.
No.
let me go into that.
No,
yeah,
but
that's what
girls
she
is
was saying.
different.
For
Yeah,
women,
For a
of course.
girl,
You'll be
it's
like
different.
16 and you'll still find the way into.
At
Yeah.
19 years old, I was in the DJ booth. I'd Live and at Story watching Steve Aoki. Like, I lived that life very young. And that's how I handled my breakup, because that's what normal people, not normal, but that's the way
A lot of
deal
people
with it.
do
It's
with
that
it.
stereotype kind of way of handling.
A man
things,
breaks
yeah.
your heart. What do? You go
Party.
out, you party, and you post on Instagram that you're living the best life because you can live without them.
And it's all to prove it to them.
It's like, oh, I hope he watches this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, are you,
Oh yeah.
who are you hurting right now? You
And
know,
it's
like,
funny because I was never the type to go out. I was never the type to do any of that. I was never a drinker, nor am I a drinker now. So when I went out and obviously we posted and whatever, he texted me that night and he was like, you're at Live right now? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah.
Evil.
He couldn't believe himself. He was beside himself. He's like, I can't believe you right now.
But you guys were already like,
Yeah,
Broken up,
how
yeah.
much further after was this?
Like 2 months.
the hell?
Mhm.
Jesus, dude.
And he's look how narcissism works, bro. Like he's literally holding
Mind you,
on.
he had a girlfriend already.
Oh, like a side piece, bro. Probably. You know, one of
No,
those-
funny enough,
One of the
his-
girls he was cheating on you with.
Yeah.
is now his fiance.
Oh, at this particular point in time.
Their anniversary is before him and I broke up.
Okay, so was she the next girl that he dated after you, or she just kind of landed?
Yeah.
Okay, well at least you know it's
Stick with.
Well, he was cheating on me, and then I guess it just kind of turned into a relationship, and now they're engaged.
okay. Well, good for them.
I wonder if he like continued on that, you know, that behavior.
Cheating?
Yeah, probably at the
Maybe in the beginning. I mean,
maybe.
we wouldn't want to think that it's still happening now,
No.
especially your fiance.
I hope not.
But you know, we'll have you hold on to those comments.
Yeah, for the sake of their relationship.
Sure.
But regardless, so then okay, that was a huge impact. So you said you're 24 now, right?
Yeah.
So that was about 5 years ago. So then how were you were single for how long in between?
So we broke up. He broke. That was around New Year's, and then so I was single for, I want to say 9 months. So I partied it up, did everything for 9 months, experienced new things. I was even going mudding, and then that's how yeah, I know, and that's how I met my ex-boyfriend.
Right.
And that I jumped into a whole nother lifestyle, and again adopted really bad habits where I became his girlfriend and my life became his life again. So that was one of the bad habits that I had. When I was with someone, my life turned into their life, and I didn't have my own identity.
I think that happens so often especially when you're somebody and then at that age you don't really know, like your identity kind of ties into who they are, and it's not your needs, it's their needs. You know, it's our needs.
True, but you were also like single for you said 9 months where you were like doing your own thing, and like by then, so it was just like all partying. Like there wasn't really any like self reflection for
Because
you to learn
again-
about you. It's always like, oh, this new guy came along. Well, I'm in this mess. I still don't know who I am.
Right.
I guess I like budding now.
Yeah.
Because I was 19. No, I didn't know what therapy was. Everyone has this stigma of therapy. And when they think of therapy, they think of, oh, well, the movies that where someone is laying on a couch and someone is sitting there with a notebook and says, so tell me how that makes you feel. That's not what therapy is. That is the furthest thing from therapy.
Is that how your therapy sessions go?
No, I do sit in it. I do sit in a.
I sit on a
chair.
couch.
There is a couch.
Like the typical one? Like
no, not the one where you like lay down. That's like no.
like to the side. You can't even see them.
No. I sit like in a chair like this, and because I've gone to therapy for years now, and it's at first it's super intimidating because you're like, you know, especially for a guy, like I'm supposed to tell this person that I don't know how I feel, like how I'm supposed to do that, yeah, and like, but it's liberating after that first hour. You're like, oh wow, like this actually feels pretty good, and then you go again, and then you go again, and it's like your past childhood trauma or relationships, my insecurities, my jealousy, you know, certain coping habits that I was exhibiting that maybe aren't that healthy. So I totally feel where you're coming from. So, but yeah, there is a stigma that therapy is like this taboo, like you crazy,
Yes.
you know, you have screw loose, or you know, like
only crazies go.
Yeah.
So now
or
that you say crazy, I actually went on a date with a guy a couple months ago, and I'm very open about therapy. When I go on dates with guys, when I meet anyone, friends, I'm very open, and I tell everyone should go to therapy. Even if you're not going through something specific in your life, there's just something very liberating about speaking to someone every week or every so often about what's going on in your life, who doesn't know who Fulano de Tal is, or doesn't know who Chris is, or doesn't know who Marvin is, or doesn't know anyone. And you just talk about them and how you feel about what's going on, even if it's about the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
even if it's a positive thing, people think, oh, you go to therapy because there's something wrong.
You
Sometimes you
flinched
want
a
to
little bit.
celebrate. Huh?
You flinched a little one like this. Like,
You know,
that was gonna hit you?
I
I'm
think
sorry.
knocked me
I'm
out.
sorry.
But even to kind of celebrate your triumphs, you know, like this is what's going on, this is positive, and for somebody to say, hey, you know, good job, you know, like this, it's reassuring, and you don't just have to go to therapy when things are bad. And huge misconception as well.
And I also think that because it's almost, there's also the thought of, you know, you want people to do good, just not better than you. So sometimes when you share things with certain people, maybe your friends or acquaintances or someone that you think you can trust, they'll listen to you, but they're always going to use it either as ammunition to be against you or to maybe talk crap about you or criticize you. When in therapy, it's an environment that you can just feel completely free and know that you're not going to be judged. Right?
Yeah, they're not gonna judge you. They're not gonna go around telling your friends or your family.
That's what I'm saying, because you get to one thing to one person, and then you find out the next day that everybody knows, or they're using it to look at you differently. Like when you just wanted to be vulnerable and open up. And in therapy, it's that environment where you know that you're going to be safe, where someone's literally listening to you to focus on you rather than get that to spread it to other people.
Yeah. If anything, they challenge you.
Right.
They challenge your thoughts. Yeah. But going back to what I was saying about the date, so when I told the guy about the therapy, his response to me was, and verbatim, he said, "Is this your warning to me to let me know that you're crazy and that I should walk away now?"
But did he say that? Did he say it like as a playful thing, like, "Oh, is this a red flag?" Or he was really
he
like,
was like flat out, just like that, looked at me dead in the face and said that. And I looked at him and I said, and I promise you, I said it just like this. And I said, the same way that just told me who you are, I said, maybe I should walk out now.
An awkward date.
Really?
How did that day go?
It didn't go.
Did it end? It ended right there.
It did pretty much. It was one of those where it kind of happened towards the end.
Okay.
And
Luckily.
yeah, it happened towards the end, and that was it.
Dodged the bullet.
100%.
100%, dude. What, you know, like when was this? This was like a couple.
Said a couple
months
months. No,
ago.
months
ago.
A couple months ago.
Makes you think, dude. Like think of how like the negative, like the misconception.
It's a big, you know, to be honest, I've only been going to therapy for, I'm 28 now, 25, since I was like 26, you know, so two and a half years maybe.
You too know, right?
2 years.
Yeah, and before that, I didn't know anything about therapy. You know, my ex, she was a therapist, and so she kind of got me into it, and obviously not with her, with somebody else, obviously. And at that point, I had no idea what therapy really meant. So, but I would never approach a situation like this and be like, oh, you go to therapy, you must be crazy. But for a lot of people, they don't really, like, again, what we were saying, they don't understand what it really is.
Do you think that that's the misconception because they've never been, so they already think of those who do go are because they're crazy?
Of course, I think so, because if you think about therapy in modern culture, you watch the news or you watch movies and shows. No, when has anybody ever told you that therapy is a good thing? Think
That's
about your
true.
childhood, growing up, your young teens, your late teens, your early 20s. Nobody has ever said, "Hey, go to therapy," unless you actually go to therapy and then see it for yourself.
Yeah, and I also think that people now are more advocate. Like they're advocating more for it, where they're like, hey, like maybe if you're not thinking wrong, it's not because you're a failure. It's probably because you need to address certain things within yourself, which going to a mental health either counselor or a therapist, they might be able to help you, figure those things out, rather than you just thinking that you're a failure because society thinks you are.
Yeah. And also back then, not even too long ago, you said, hey, I want to maybe talk to somebody. They'd be like, oh, you don't need therapy. You don't have problems. Especially maybe even in Hispanic culture, from what I hear, it's like a taboo as well, where it's like, oh, you're sad, especially for guys, oh, you're sad or whatever. Like, I don't know, just you figure something else out, like you shouldn't go to therapy. You don't need it. That kind of, it's a whole an iceberg of misconceptions and failures and stuff like that. But I'm glad that you are going to therapy and you're taking care of your mind. I think it's a huge part of your life. Should be.
Even my father, when I told my father about going to therapy.
I wanted to ask you.
When I told my father about going to therapy, he was totally against it.
Why?
Totally against it. He was like, oh, you're going to go to the shrink? Because that's what people call it, the shrink. And he was like, you're going to go spend your money on the shrink for what? So someone can sit there and tell you that you're crazy so you can keep spending money to go to them?
Yeah.
Again, the misconception. And I asked him, I said, can I ask you a question? He said, what? I said, have you ever been to therapy? He said, no, for what? I said, you need it more than I do.
No, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Man, so at this point, you actively go to therapy. Are you dating anybody right now, or?
No. So my last relationship is what put me in therapy.
Okay.
Funny enough. And therapy has taught me to see the red flags, because before red flags were white to me. And then they kind of turned pink throughout therapy, and now they're red.
No, it's you ever seen that thing that it's like that sign's not gonna stop me because I can't read.
Or like I'm colorblind, something like that. Yeah.
So if I feel like if I was not going to therapy, maybe the answer would have been different, and I would have been telling you that I was dating someone.
Yeah, could be.
No, because I feel like if I wasn't going to therapy, I would have just settled for whatever came my way, and I would have been like, okay, this is fine. Okay, you gave me attention, I'll give you attention. We'll just move on from here. But
it's important.
So do you think, tying it to your family before we get more into the dating side, after your father, I guess I don't want to say criticize you, but he responded in that way, do you feel like as time has gone on, has therapy, one, helped you in your relationship with your family, and two, are they now more open to it because of how it is, or is it still the same?
So one thing that I've learned in therapy is that my feelings are valid. And that's something that needs to be said more, because people all have feelings. We all feel something towards something. And I think with men, it's a little bit harder because men are not open about their feelings. And men are not open about saying, I feel this about a certain situation, or I have anxiety, or I have whatever. And my dad is very vocal, obviously, about his feelings. And I've learned to just not talk to him about it. So I keep that. We don't talk about it. I do what I have to do. And I've learned that what I feel is valid. And I need to do what I need to do to handle what I feel and treat it. And what he feels is his opinion, but we don't talk about it. His opinion is his, mine is mine. I do what I do. He needs to do what he does.
So he still hasn't gone to therapy.
No, and he's not going to.
Yeah, but especially, think about it. You think about maybe your dad, or especially when they're a little bit older, it's hard for them to adapt and change, because when they were young, they had their dads telling them, you don't need to go to therapy. What is therapy? What is therapy? Like, so it's a different culture. We live in a different world. But it's important that, even though they have family and you love them, maybe you can't tell them everything. Maybe some things you should, you do it for yourself and that's it. And you don't have to bring it up, and it happens and that's it. You can't force them to accept you for doing that,
And so with your dad being like that, how was it growing up with like that type of energy that he was always like kind of portraying on the family?
I mean, it was definitely that feeling of I was never good enough.
Is it you an only child?
No, I'm one of four.
One of four. And so can you break them down for me?
Yeah.
So my sister, she's older. She's 28. She's a teacher, but she has that very like happy-go-lucky first grade teacher personality where everything is bubbly and butterflies and rainbows. So she really doesn't care anything that he has to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's me, who is very different. I'm very straightforward. I have the RBF, very strong personality, cutthroat.
You know what RBF stands for?
No, it's
resting bitch face.
Oh, That's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know. I
Yeah.
was like, RBF. What is this?
Yeah.
No one asked. Sorry, go ahead.
And then I have a younger brother who's 22 now, and he's irrelevant, to be honest.
Okay.
As horrible as it sounds, he is. Not irrelevant. He's chosen his path in life, and he has chosen to take it, and he doesn't really talk to anyone. He doesn't really interact with anyone, doesn't participate with anyone. So he just does his own thing.
And everyone's accepting of that. They're just like, oh, okay, that's just how he is.
He's 22. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
He said that.
I guess.
Like, what?
Right.
What are you going to do? You can't do anything about it. You can give him your opinion, but what he does with it is his business.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I have a 7-year-old brother.
Okay.
7-year-old brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's young. It's a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah, that is a big gap.
Huge gap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
Can you see how my father is?
Yeah, okay. So go into that. So then growing up, how was it, I guess, with that dynamic with your dad?
So because of the personality I have, I do think that I'm similar to him in a lot of ways, in the sense that we have our opinions and obviously we're going to share them. But him and I clash a lot.
Mhm.
So he's very intense. I'm very intense. I feel like I'm his karma because everyone around him is very accommodating to him, in the sense of they don't like to fight with him, so they don't deal with him. Or they don't like to fight with him, so they don't challenge him.
Yeah, like, why waste my time if,
Exactly.
if nothing's going to change?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I'm just going to give him his way because it's easier to give someone their way and not deal with it. In my case, it was not like that. If I didn't like what he did, I would tell him. If he did something that pissed me off or he did something that made me feel some type of way, I was going to tell him and I wouldn't speak to him. And he didn't like that. And I had told Chris a story that back when I was 18, I had won a lawsuit. And when I won the lawsuit, the money obviously came into my name because I was 18. But at the time, we had a conjoint account, because a big account, because I had just turned 18. So, you know, when your family can kind of see your account and they kind of have control because you're still a minor or whatever.
Right.
So,
Oh yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I am in banking, and when you're younger than 18, it's like a junior savings where she doesn't have any rights. Like it's her money, but she can't touch it yet until she's 18.
Sure.
So he would pretty much be the one in charge,
but I was 18, so the money was mine. So when the money was won, I wanted to get my boobs done, right? So I had told him, I was like, look, I really want to get my boobs done. And he was like, you're absolutely ridiculous. I was graduating at the time, and he was like, we should go on a trip for your graduation. I said, great, let's go on a trip. He said, cool, but you have to pay for it. I was like,
she won the money, but he's there trying to
give me a graduation trip. I'm like, well, that's not a graduation trip if I'm the one that's funding it. And he wanted to go on this very lavish European trip. So you're not talking about a trip to Orlando that costs, you know, a couple $100. You're talking about a few thousands, you know? So obviously I was like, look, I don't want to spend that money. I'd rather go do something for me. And when I told him, he threatened to take the money from me.
Jesus.
So
check this out. Story gets better.
So I said, oh, okay. Because remember, I'm his karma. I said, oh, you want to threaten me? I said, okay, está bien. So I went the next day and I showed up to the bank and I said, I need to deposit $35,000 out of the account. And the lady looked at me and she gave me a face. And I took out all the money out of the account.
35K is what
I won.
okay.
The winnings.
But okay, technicalities. Carry on, but whatever.
So I took out all the money in the account and I went to Chase and I opened my own account and I put all the money there and I went and I got my boobs done without a word.
Those are the boobs.
Yeah.
Those are the boobs. Okay.
Yep.
But what I have questions.
No, ask them.
Well, you can't just take out that much money in a day.
No, but she could do a transfer, or she could do a cashier's check.
I did a cashier's
wire.
check.
Oh,
I did a cashier's check.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they just interesting. So you did the boobs.
I wiped
What's
the
the
account.
second question? You had two questions.
Yeah. What else what else did you do with the money?
So I wiped the account.
How much were your boobs?
They were only $3,000.
Okay, so we still got 32 to play with. You can
Yeah.
still go to freaking Europe and stuff.
Yeah, I fucking do both.
Yeah, you win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna go to Europe and pay for my dad's way.
Right. I
Like
understand.
that's my money, you know. And I'm 18, about to go to college. You know, there's a lot of other things that I can do with that money.
Yeah,
than spend
Sure.
someone
could've
else's
used that
way.
plan
course.
for. Yeah.
So obviously, when I got my boobs done, I never told my dad anything. When my dad saw that money was gone, you can imagine. All hell
remember,
broke
because
loose.
the account was joint.
Yeah, of course. He
He saw
noticed.
it.
Did he? Yeah. How quickly did he realize it? Must have gotten an alert or something.
I don't know about an alert.
Yeah, he probably
but
went to go check it out,
And
and
then it was empty.
empty 0.00 is what he saw.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Carry on.
And that was a really bad time for, I don't remember how long, him and I didn't speak for 2 years because he called me and he was like, oh, you want to act like a grown up? You want to act like you're such a big girl? He showed up to my house the next day. He gave me the title to my car. He took away my health insurance because I was under his plan. He was like, oh, give me your phone back, because even though like I wasn't living with him, my stuff was under his name. So he was like, give me my phone back. Give me my son pass back. Here's your title to your car. Figure it out. I took you off of my insurance plan. I took you off of everything. You want to be an adult? Figure everything out. Not my problem. At 18 years old.
Man, so you were 18. You had new titties. You had 32K. And man, that's a interesting way to start your adult life, right?
Yeah.
You know? But you weren't living with your dad at the time.
Nope, never
That's
did.
what happened. Because I'm like, how did he not know?
No,
Like-
I never
like-
did.
And then you had to do your boobs and wow.
Yeah, for real.
Like what? Like who took care of you when
My
you,
mom.
Okay, so
My
she
mom
knew.
knew. My mom knew.
Okay. Because I'm just trying to put everything together.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
The-
there's a
the-
timeline.
the
That's
details.
a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he found out through someone else that I had got my boobs done.
So I was gonna be how did you?
So yeah,
find out?
you hadn't seen him in a while then.
No, I obviously all hell broke loose and him and I didn't speak. So obviously if we weren't speaking, we were definitely not going to see each other.
Damn, but and it's funny because he could have done the same thing you did with the money.
Yeah,
you
you
could
could
have literally closed the account, taken all the money out.
I don't think he would have been that dumb.
Well, but he
He
could have
could've.
been that dumb.
I
But he
mean,
just
but
wasn't.
that check was written to me.
True, but it was
In my
It was-
name.
it was
yeah, but the
his
thing
money,
is,
no?
yeah, but the thing is, if it's in the account, like if we have an account together and money is there,
Mhm.
you can take it just like I can take it.
Yeah.
You can cut a cashier's check payable to your name and that's it.
and then disappear.
He could have beat you to it. But you were-
Honestly, looking back now, it probably would have been better that he did that, because imagine an 18-year-old with $32,000 in their bank account.
and,
What would you
and
do
big
though?
boobies
And big titties.
and big fake
Like,
boobies.
come
like big boobies.
Like, you can imagine, I was definitely not the most responsible with the money. I definitely was not investing in the stock market.
Yeah,
I was not
sure.
buying properties at
Yeah.
18 years
Yeah.
old. That's not what I was
You
doing.
could have.
So I look
Yeah.
back now at 24 years old and I'm like, damn, what I would do to have that money in my
But
account.
but do you think that he would have made any smart decisions with it for you that would have helped you?
Maybe not smart decisions, because I don't think he would have spent it, but maybe would have just held it.
Mm.
Or maybe have put in a CD so it would have gained interest
Something,
or
yeah.
something where the money would have been like, it would have stayed there.
Damn.
Bro, it just reminds me of the thing that happened. Like one of my sisters, when she won, my sister won a lawsuit, and
You told me about this
yeah, it
once,
was a
yeah.
lot of money, and she was around that age. She was a minor, and my 18 years old, all that money, it was like 300K or something. It was a substantial amount. And my sister, like 18 years old, she wanted to do this. My mom was like, no, you're buying a place, and they ended up buying a property.
The one in
Yeah,
that,
one of this, and luckily now it's paid off, and it's probably gained a lot of value. But that's the difference between a parent that cares and, hey, listen, long term, you're gonna be grateful that I'm doing this. And at the time, my sister was like, no, like fuck, I don't want to do
No,
this.
she must be super happy.
And now she's like ecstatic about it, because now you have something. You're 23 years old, 24 years old, and you have a property that, because of your mom indirectly, because
Yeah.
she cared about you.
I wish it was more like that, because when I was going to FIU, I was getting financial aid, and I was getting a lot of money back,
Yeah.
like too much for someone at my age. And I remember I bought a car and I started spending it on stupid stuff, and like I regret it so much now, because like if I would have just kept it, like that would have been like 15 to 20 grand,
Yeah.
like just from like scholarships and
of course.
grants that I was getting from the government.
And money, you don't have. That's your money. Like you don't have to give it back.
Well, yeah, this guy, so Jose, obviously,
Yeah.
he what he did, he would save it because
told me.
he got his master's. So when he went to do it, he paid with the money that he had saved, and plus the money that he was saving to pay for his master's. So he was graduating with no debt.
I think also his job kind of paid for some of it. No?
I think I don't remember, but
Right.
maybe I just know that he was gonna
Yeah,
leave
he-
without any debt.
He was so smart. With
He was
money,
just super smart.
impeccable at that age.
And that's what
if
I'm
you think about
saying.
it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if his parents had any influence. He was super cheap.
He was very cheap.
Yeah, he would literally. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
But that was the plan for the money, because I never got financial aid, ever.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah.
That was since the day I started college till today, I've never gotten financial aid. Not a grant, not financial aid, nothing. So I've had to pay my way through school from the very beginning, and my parents have never helped me.
So okay, well you had 32,000.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. That's what
so
she's
that
saying.
That's
was
where
the
the money
plan
went
for the
to?
money. So obviously I went to Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade, everyone knows, is not expensive. And I did have, I think, 75% paid for when I went to Miami-Dade. So what I was paying was nothing.
Uh-huh.
But here's the best part. You ready? You want to know where a lot of it went? We already established that
Move the boobs.
3,000 went
I
to
don't know,
that.
man.
We're at 32.
Or,
Okay.
So my ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
The narcissist one. Yeah.
The high school
Oh,
one.
because that was around the
high
age.
school
We
one.
broke up when I was 19 and I got the money
fuck.
at 18.
Ah,
Yeah.
it was
Obviously,
funny.
you,
He was mooching off you.
you
or
sit
something?
there and you think you're in love and you think whatever and the whole thing. And he was in school too. And guess who was paying for it?
You idiot.
When we would go to dinner, guess who was paying for it? When we would go on trips and he wanted to go to Orlando outlets and have a shopping spree, guess who was paying for it?
Was he not working?
He was working.
Well, but this girl, imagine your girl has like $30,000 in your bank account at that age,
And
bro.
everything was, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to pay you back.
After I break up with you. Wow.
So that's where a lot of that money went.
It's like when you're 10 years old and your mom gives you $20 to go somewhere. You feel like you're rich.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna spend all this $20.
Yeah.
Like you get 30K at that age. You're like,
Oh, yeah, I
that's
thought
so
it was-
much.
It's
We're rich.
so much, yeah. And then it goes to 29, then it's 28.
Who
then
has this much
25.
money at this age saved?
Yeah.
You know.
Nobody.
So that's where a lot of that money went.
Okay. Damn, that sucks. But so now do you have any
Of that money
Yeah.
specifically?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I don't.
All right. Well. Anyways, so let's go back towards now on your job. So what do you do right now?
So right now, like I said, I'm finishing nursing school. So I'm like right there, so close I can taste it, but not close enough. But I'm a tech right now at the hospital. So I work night shifts at the hospital.
Okay. They say that in hospitals it's like a massive orgy.
Yeah.
I don't know
Like
who it
everybody
was.
bangs everybody?
Unknown quote.